What's up, Gacha Gang? Kawaii50 here with another FGO video, and my friends, Lost Belt 3 is upon us. And as it stands, with every single Lost Belt comes a brand new slew of fantastic servants. And I hope you'll forgive me, gang, because I had to indulge myself with the first Lost Belt 3 servant video. We are talking about Xiang, an absolutely magnificent servant, a monstrous servant. This design is amazing, people. You all know how I feel about monstrous servants. We need more of them. And if this video helps you out, or if you just like monstrous servants too, go ahead, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel for some more content. But you came here to learn about how this man plays, so let's get started. Xiang Yu's deck is initially going to come off to you as a little bit scattered. He's got a quick arts buster deck with a quick noble phantasm. That's right, this is a quick type berserker who I feel like you're going to immediately start comparing to Berserker Lancelot. But let's be fair here, gang. They both occupy some very different roles, despite the fact that both can be used in Scotty farming. Let's take a look at Xiang Yu's stats. 13,770 HP would normally be respectable on a lot of other servants, but because of Xiang Yu's Berserker class, the man is naturally made of paper. So like the rest of your Berserkers, expect him to go around fairly quickly. Now, his max attack is another story. At 11,613, that already puts Xiang Yu on the higher scale when it comes to attacks in the game, but on top of that, Xiang Yu has his Berserker class going for him, so double effectiveness means double the damage. Xiang Yu's NP per hit at a 0.5 actually ends up being fairly respectable, mainly because if you use him in Scotty farming, he is going to get overkill, and if you end up fighting a boss, well, Xiang Yu is going to get a lot of Noble Phantasm on the following chain, using your Quick and Arts cards. Where Xiang Yu loses out, his main weakness, what you are going to hate most about him, is his star absorption. Gang, this is a Berserker that likes to crit. And unfortunately for Xiang Yu, his star absorption being a pitiful 9 means you're going to have to generate a lot of stars in order to get him to function properly. This man craves, this man begs for star supporters as well as star overflow. We begin to see shades of Xiang Yu's style in his passives. Misfortune Enhancement rank A, and passives was a misnomer because this is the only one. But he gets plus 8% Buster Card effectiveness and plus 8% critical strength. This is just the beginning of the critical strength buffs that affect this unfortunate crit damager, who would probably be more at home in a stronger class mechanically. Stronger class for crits, that is. But rejoice, my friends, because he will eventually get a buff. Unfortunately, ETA on this is 2 of 2022, but it is coming. Something to keep in mind. Future Prediction, rank A++, gives Xiang Yu Evade, so it is his main survivability skill. It also increases his critical strength by 50 to 100% for a single turn. And on top of that, when it gets buffed, it will increase his critical star gather rate by 3,000 to 5,000% for one turn. Very, very similar to Mama Raiko's star gather buff. This skill has some unfortunate things going along with it. I always hate it when a damage boost ends up being applied to the character's survivability skill. Because when it's a survivability skill, you're mainly going to want to use it for survivability, especially in long-form fights. You're going to want to use it to stay alive, to evade Noble Phantasms first and foremost. So even though this is one of his most powerful damaging buffs, its still main focus is keeping Xiang Yu alive. So go ahead and max this second, and if you pull him on launch, remember, that star gather rate buff is coming, it just unfortunately can't come soon enough. Xiang Yu's second skill is his main damage focused and star creating skill, and the one I recommend you max first, is Tactical Body rank B. Grants him to 20 to 30% increase on both his quick and buster card effectiveness, and it also grants him a 30 to 50% increase to his critical strength. And this is where stuff with Xiang Yu gets a little nutty, and you actually might kind of want to play him like a berserker, focusing on recklessness and ignoring his evade, forcing your allies to help him evade. Because if you combine a rank 10 of this skill with a rank 10 of future prediction, that is a 150% critical damage buff. With his berserker class effectiveness on top of that, the damage ceilings, the burst damage you can get out of Xiang Yu is just absolutely absurd. Max this first regardless, even if you don't plan on playing him like that, just because the quick and buster card effectiveness is essential, especially to someone who has a quick Noble Phantasm and 3 buster cards in their kit. Xiang Yu's final skill is Supreme Ruler's Art of War, rank A. This grants him 5 to 10 critical stars every turn for 3 turns, and also allows him to ignore invincibility for 3 turns. Even though this skill is not a straight damage increase, it just feels quintessentially Berserker. Not only is Xiang Yu generating the ability to grant himself more critical hits, but he is also just completely ignoring all but the strongest defensive buffs on the opponent. And for 3 turns, it's not even just a single burst instance, but 3 whole turns. 3 whole turns where Xiang Yu can be your only damage dealer, and he can generate damage, stars, and Noble Phantasm off of an enemy who thinks they are very, very safe. Still, you're going to want to max this last because the other 2 skills are just more useful for burst in the heat of the moment. Plus, you've got other allies out there that can help you generate those critical stars. I am absolutely going to butcher the name of this Noble Phantasm, everybody. But I just want you to know that I tried my best. Li Ba Shan Ji Chi... Le Ba Shan Zi Shi Gai Shi. I tried. I really tried. Xiang Yu's Noble Phantasm deals 600 to 1000% damage to all enemies. But wait, there's more. It has an NP strength buff, and furthermore, this buff activates before damage is dealt. Because this activates before damage is dealt, this gives Xiang Yu high potential to go into overkill. And if he is able to go into overkill and generate a ton of Noble Phantasm off that overkill damage, well, gang, you've got yourself another Scotty system farmer. Is he as good as Lancelot? Well, the NP gain, you would like for him to be more consistent, but if you end up getting a multi-level Noble Phantasm Xiang Yu, then he is going to deal enough damage in order to get those loops in. But it requires a huge investment, mainly from your wallet. So my top 2 ally recommendations for Xiang Yu are gonna be strange to you, gang, because these are gonna be very, very expensive picks, and picks you might not normally put together. But I think Xiang Yu is very well complemented by both Scotty and Waver. With a combination of Scotty and Waver, Xiang Yu is getting the NP gain support he needs. He has the ability to not have to rely on himself for any sort of evasion, thanks to the combination of Merlin's invincibility buff and Scotty's Noble Phantasm. Both of them are giving Xiang Yu the critical damage buffs he desperately craves, and with a combination of Garn of Avalon and any sort of Fragments of 2030 craft essences on either of these characters, you are going to generate the star overflow that Xiang Yu needs in order to just be an absolute titan on the battlefield. Now, barring those choices, I would highly recommend characters to pair with Xiang Yu who are able to make him more consistent, help generate stars for him, and overall increase his survivability. Jeanne d'Arc is a fantastic companion for him thanks to not only her revelation skill, but her Noble Phantasm, giving Xiang Yu the invincibility and health regen he needs for sustained fights. I also highly recommend Summer BB, not just because I am biased, but also because Faceless Moon is a unique skill that really benefits Xiang Yu, allowing you to lock in the most advantageous cards for whatever situation he's in, while generating him extra critical stars to boot. And finally, Xiang Yu is also a very, very ripe pick for the buffed Osakabe Hime, because it kinda seems like her buffs were made specifically to support him. She can grant him extra max HP, she can increase his paper-thin defense, she can grant him quick and buster card effectiveness, which are his main focuses, she can increase his NP gauge and critical star drop rate, and she can also increase his critical damage by another whopping 30 to 50%, bringing it up to 200% if you've got enough invested in both of these characters. A lot of Xiang Yu's craft essence picks really stem from you asking yourself the question, what do I want to do with him? Do I want him to be an NP looper? Do I want to focus on the aspects of his Noble Phantasm and go with either quick effectiveness or NP strength? Or do I just want to go all in on that critical damage boost? I mean, if you're NP looping with Scotty, of course you're going to want to start him off with Kaleidoscope to get that first turn Noble Phantasm. If you're looking for a general blanket buff that ticks all those boxes, a craft essence I really would like to recommend for him is 3 Anglers from the Oniland Halloween 2020 event. This grants 15% quick card effectiveness, 15% NP strength, and 15% critical strength, giving Xiang Yu bonuses to all of the things he wants to do. Another decent pick for him is Midsummer Moment, granting him quick card effectiveness, critical strength bonus, as well as a couple of stars every single turn, helping push him towards that star overflow that he desperately needs to get any of the critical stars to crit at all. If you want less of a focus on crits and more of a focus on quick and his Noble Phantasm in general, while giving yourself that critical star insurance, there is always Dangerous Beast, granting the stars per turn and the quick card effectiveness. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, my friends, finding command codes for Xiang Yu was difficult, mainly because we can't give him any sort of critical star absorption, despite the fact that he wants to crit. His latent star weight is just so low that absolutely any star absorption command codes or craft essences on him become utterly useless. So we instead gotta focus on Noble Phantasm strength and critical damage, hoping we can generate enough extra stars to give Xiang Yu the chance to crit. You'll want to end up giving your buster cards critical damage command codes over anything else. So give him something like Mistress of the Heavens, which when engraved on a buster card increases critical damage by 25%. This is just the highest end variation of it, but absolutely any critical damage bonuses you can do belong on Xiang Yu's buster cards. For Xiang Yu's single quick card, I really believe the best route for it is helping him towards that critical star overflow he needs. So actually my recommendation is the freebie command code, Code Glitter. This increases the star generation of the equip card by 20%. Chuck this on Xiang Yu's quick card and he's going to get a few more stars to help the overall team out. For the arts card, I would recommend something along the lines of Magus of Flowers. It will charge Xiang Yu's NP gauge by a flat 10% whenever he is attacking with that arts card. You are using that arts card to try and generate Noble Phantasm anyways, so being able to get a guaranteed 10% off it is going to help you when it comes to using his Noble Phantasm in challenge quests. And finally, if you want to give him an NP damage boost on top of the ability he has before the damage is dealt, you can go ahead and chuck Da Vinci Chan on one of his buster cards. This grants a 15% NP damage boost. You have to use the card before attacking with his Noble Phantasm, but the damage trade-off is well worth it. Everyone, if I was just grading Xiang Yu on concept, on design, on animations, he would be a quadruple S tier servant. But unfortunately, that is just not the case, and we have to keep design into account. If you are able to build a team around Xiang Yu, he is going to be putting out damage numbers like you would not believe. Between all of those critical damage boosts, between his overall NP damage boosts, it is just absurd the amount of damage this man will be able to put out. But therein lies the problem. Xiang Yu is a berserker, so his star weight is low, so you have to pretty much get those 50 critical stars every single turn consistently if you want Xiang Yu to have any kind of consistent damage. On top of that, Xiang Yu will rely on his support for any and all survivability. In order to play him truly effectively, you have to play him recklessly, which means ignoring your evade and using it in favor of the overall critical strength damage boost. This means he's going to have to rely on characters like Skahawk Scotty and like Waver to keep him from dying, because as a Berserker, his defense is paper thin. However, if you like Xiang Yu a lot like I do, if you are willing to look past all of that and straight up build your entire team around him, you are going to find a very reliable damage dealer who, in looks and in playstyle, truly embodies the word Berserker. But of course, I want to know what you all think, so go ahead and tell me your thoughts on Xiang Yu down in the comments section below. I myself am very excited for Xiang Yu. I am a little more excited for Shi Wangdi, even though Xiang Yu's design is absolutely amazing. But I am hoping against hope that when I do my pulls on the Lost Belt 3 banners, I pull Shi Wangdi early so I can dump the rest of my Saint Quartz into Xiang Yu's banner. I've been saving a while, so wish me luck. And even if I don't get Xiang Yu the first time he comes around, well, there's always another chance, and I will definitely go for him then. If you'd like to talk FGO, you can go ahead and join us on the Discord. If you think I'm doing a good job, hit me up on the Patreon. We just redid that, and I feel like the way I redid that is a lot more fair. And on top of that, if you want to see me stream when I am finally able to start streaming again, you can go ahead and shoot me a follow over on Twitch as well. I hope you're all having a phenomenal day. I'll see y'all in the next video.